guys! I am here playing Phoenix Wright Trials and Tribulations, and we are in the middle of Mask to Mask case. We are on what I think, if I remember right, is the last day of the trial. We are trying to prove that Rhonda Light did not kill the CEO. So we're trying to prove that Rhonda Light did not kill Kane Bullard. So I want to know what actually happened that night for real. So let's just play. Hey Nick, what is it this time? You won't believe how many people are here for the trial. Well, it is a murder case. What are you talking about? They're here for the trial next door. Next door? Why don't you know this, Nick? They're having Detective Apney's trial today. Detective Apney? They say they're going to try him as Mask to Mask. Already? That was fast. Boy, I'd love to see Mask to Mask trial. I know. By the way, where's Pearls? Oh, she went back home. She said she can't neglect her training anymore. I know you don't like me. Pearls has really gotten into her training lately, huh? Yeah, ever since that incident last year. Please, don't ignore me! Oh, Mr. Delight, good morning. No one likes me. No one would notice me even if I killed someone. Come on, don't be silly. Wait a sec. You don't mean you're the murderer? No. I'm just a poor thief. No, wait, that's not right. A thief can't really be poor. Now let's see. According to Mr. Delight, from his second crime on, he was following a bunch of set plans. Plans that someone had been sending him to help him commit the heists. Do you really think there's a connection between the thief and the murder, Nick? It's possible, but today's trial is a race against the clock. Huh? How come? Let's just take our time like always. I'm afraid that's not an option. Wonder why? I know why, because I played this game before, but you know. Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Rhonda Light. The defense is ready, Your Honor. You're ready? Preparation is the last refuge of the weak. Okay, settle down, everyone. Let's begin with your opening statement, Mr. Godot. Ugh, he's got the judge in the palm of his hand yet again. Rhonda Light is simply too young to be sent to war. That's all. I'm afraid I have no idea what that means, Mr. Godot. Huh. Then you need to get out more, Your Honor. Life is war. But that is exactly why you must be more precise in your wording. That's all my statement means. You understand now, right? Yes. Well then, let me briefly summarize the details of this case. Wow, the judge is taking charge like he knows what's going on for a change. The victim is Kane Bullard, CEO of KB Security. His body was found in a safe at approximately 9 a.m. on the morning of the 13th. However, the time of death was estimated as 1 a.m. of the previous day. And that's when our little lost kitten dropped the ball. That little lost kitten is, of course, the defendant. Very well then, Mr. Godot. Please call your first witness. I never drink more than 17 cups of coffee during any given trial. That is something that is mentioned. and it keeps being mentioned throughout this game. So, I'm gonna be very curious how accurate they are with the counting. So, I'm gonna keep track, or at least try to keep track. So he's already on cup number 1 right now. I'm gonna try and keep track and see how accurate this is. But the first one is always the best. Mr. Godot, your witness. Okay then, let's hear what the defendant, Mr. Ron Delight, has to say for himself. The defendant? Well, Mr. Wright, does the defense have any objections? It may be a bit of a disadvantage having the defendant testify, but I remember when Mia was defending me. She allowed me to testify so she could do the cross-examination. She put a lot of trust in me back then. We have no objections, Your Honor. The defense will allow Mr. Delight to testify. Ha! You've got guts, Trite. Alright then, Mr. Rondelite, please take the stand. You did it, didn't you? Yes. What? No, 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 no. That's not true. For a moment there, I thought we'd set the record for the shortest trial ever. Well, Mr. Delight already looks plenty guilty with that face he's making. Once he opens his big mouth, he'll probably put the last nail in his own coffin. Huh, very well. Now then, can you tell me something? If you didn't kill Bullard, why did you go to KB Security? Well, that's kind of hard to say. Boy, I wish I could go home. Now then, let's hear some testimony about what happened. My visit to KB Security. That evening, around 1 a.m., I went to see Mr. Bullard in his office at KB Security. The blackmail letter I got, it ordered me to go there. I've been working for KB Security until a year ago, so I knew where his office was. 1 a.m., the exact time the murder took place. That's coffee cup number 2. The weak get washed away by the tides of fate. The strong drink it up. Ha! It's bitter today too, just like my destiny. You'd never know it from the way he's chugging it down. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, if you please. Alright. 1 a.m., huh? You're absolutely sure about that? Yes, that's what my watch said when I was entering the CEO's office. No. Actually, I'm not really sure. My watch was slow, and my internal clock was also a bit... 1 a.m. That's the exact time the victim, Mr. Bullard, was murdered, correct? It's too late for a coffee date, that's for sure. Thank you for the hydrate. How are you doing tonight? The blackmail letter I got ordered me to go there. You brought someone here and they hate ads? Okay. Well, I hate to tell you this, but there's an ad that starts in 18 seconds from when I said 18. So... It ordered you there? It's the first time I'd gotten a blackmail letter that ordered me to go somewhere. Does that mean you've gotten other blackmail letters then? Oh, of course. They'd say things like, steal this or take that. Haha, why don't you save those for later, Mr. Delight? Please don't say any more. Now what should I do? Press harder. So what did the blackmail letter in question say? It said to bring $50,000. Money, eh? A perfect motive for committing murder. Oh, but wait. I never intended to pay that money anyway. They're having trouble logging in, lol. Okay. You're being very mysterious. I really should adjust how that pops up. I met them in Dangan Orgpa. Do I actually remember who they are, though? I never intended to pay that money anyway. Oh, is that right? No way! No! After all, he had nothing to hold over my head. I had nothing to be afraid of. An important point indeed. Witness, let's have that added to your testimony. Yes, sir. Huh. A muddy mud skipper in outer space has a better chance of surviving than I do. Oh god. The blackmail threat didn't scare me. It wasn't gonna cause me trouble or anything. I wanted to say something really important. Okay. Hello, Audie. I don't know what to say to that. How are you doing today? Is this the MM? Yeah. Okay. That was not a statement I was expecting. Okay. This what were you being blackmailed about anyway? The blackmail letter said, if you don't want your identity revealed, correct? I'm sure it was referring to the whole mask-to-mask thing. But I wasn't worried. Mr. Bullard didn't have anything on me. He didn't? Anyway, I don't care what anyone says about me. Just as long as Desi believes in me. So that's why Mr. Light didn't believe he was mask to mask. That's why I knew they were just hollow threats. That was the important thing. I see. Okay, sure. I've been working for KB Security until a few years ago, so I knew where his office was. You used to be a security chief for KB Security, right? Yes, that's right. A security chief? You? And yet, a year ago, you were fired without notice. Revenge for an old grudge, a perfect motive for murder, wouldn't you say? Knowledge is needed to be known. I see. Okay. This isn't good. Maybe I should change the subject. Why was he fired? Mr. Delight, please tell us why you were fired from your job. Well, the world is filled with those who have said, I wish I had never asked that. Okay, I take it back. Defendant, please answer the question. Well, I needed money. You needed money? Well, you see, Desi loves to spend it. It's kind of her hobby. Not exactly the best hobby in the world, huh, Nick? My salary wasn't nearly enough, so I stole data from the company. Come again? KV Security has a lot of security info on all sorts of companies, and since I was a security team chief, he stole some data and sold it. Mr. Bullard found out, so I was fired immediately. What? I wish I had never asked that. I was somehow able to keep it secret and make it seem like I had quit on my own. What is it, Nick? You don't look so good. Someone who brings harm to their company is fired as punishment. You do well to remember that. He sure told you. So you admit that you stole data from your company, is that correct? Yes, I'm sorry. This is a very important fact. Please add it to your testimony. Oh man, this whole thing just took a big turn for the worse, crashed, and blew up. It's gonna take the jaws of life to rip this case from the clutches of disaster. Thank you for the follow! He fired me for selling company secrets, but Desi doesn't know about that. Why would you do something like that? Well, for Desi's hobby, what else? Wasting money, huh? It's not a waste. So, Miss Delight doesn't know that her husband was fired, does she? So it would seem. I'm not sure what to think about couples who keep secrets like that from each other. I can't believe it. This case has gotten even Maya to think seriously about couples. Please try to stay focused, Mr. Wright. There wasn't much to his testimony, was there? Sounds like he's avoiding something. At least that's what it sounds like to me. Uh-oh, I've got a bad feeling about this. We better be careful. But if we don't find a way to make him spill the beans, we'll never get closer to the truth. Yeah. I mean, I don't see anything. I wonder if I can ask the other question. I can't ask the other question?
Objection!
Oh. I definitely skipped some stuff I shouldn't have. I said no strictly so I could go back to this. Just what were you being blackmailed about? The blackmail letter said if you don't want your identity revealed, correct? I'm sure it was referring to the whole master thing. Tisk tisk, I'm afraid that reason isn't gonna hold up anymore. What do you mean? The victim had no proof the defendant was Master Mask. But you were the one who stole company secrets only 1 year earlier. But that was all over with once I was fired. But it is true that I kept the fact I stole secrets was kept under wraps. Even so, there was no reason for me to pay up now, a whole year later. Is that really true? What is it, Nick? The fact that Ron was stealing company data, I wonder if he would have had a problem if that ever became public knowledge. Yes, he would. Mr. Delight, I believe you would have been in considerable trouble if your identity as a company data thief was made public. Mr. Wright, what are you trying to do by bullying your own client? Huh. Men are like colonies of bacteria. The more heat you apply, the faster they grow. That's exactly right. Well then, feel free to keep up the heat, my little lawyer amigo. Little lawyer amigo? Yes, now, come on. Provide some evidence to back up your assertion. That's coffee cup number 3. Why would Mr. Delight want to keep his data stealing secret from going public? Because of Desi. Mr. Delight, what you said just now doesn't match what you told me yesterday. Huh? What doesn't? I think you must have been scared, very scared, of having a certain person find out your secret. Gulp. A certain person? Miss Desiree Delight, the defendant's wife. Well, listen to me. My Desi, she's... Looks like if I just sit back and relax, the fun will end before it truly begins. Grr, Godot. Yes, we know. It was all your wife's fault. What do you mean? Mr. Delight stole company data to pay for his wife's spending habit, for which he was fired. Unable to face his own wife, someone used his dirty little secret to blackmail him. And that is how this murder came out. Oh, No, everything is falling neatly into place for him. Don't talk about my Destiny like that, or you'll be sorry. Well, it seems that we've learned a great deal of things here so far. What do you think, Nick? I didn't think it was possible to get so thoroughly whipped in just 20 minutes. It's the fact that I've been streaming for 22, so that's actually fairly accurate. Clearly there was sufficient motive for murder. He stole that data for his wife, and he killed to protect his secret. A family man who cared just a little too much. The motive is clear, let's move on. Ugh. What happened at the crime scene at 1 in the morning, Mr. Delight? Come now, tell us. We're all ears. At the CEO's office. When I entered the office, there was a suspicious shadow there. Suddenly, I was hit on the forehead. After that, I remember being a bit dazed. If I hadn't been wearing that, I would have been killed. When I came to, Mr. Bullard was lying there, dead. I see. Suddenly hit on the forehead, huh? I believe the detective from yesterday provided similar testimony. He said that Master Mass struck him on the head from behind. Of course, since Abney turned out to be the culprit himself, that was all a lie. Huh. No one's going to believe a pathetic lie like that. Well, what are you saying? I really was attacked. We'll find out if what you say is true or not during cross-examination. Got that, Mr. Trite? Don't go easy just because he's your client. Coffee cup number 4. If I see any sign that you are, I'll treat you to another cup of my special blend. You know what? Hold on. I'm gonna do something real quick. I'm gonna change the size of it. I'm gonna change the size of it. There we go. Coffee cup number 4. That's what we're at right now. Coffee cup number 4. He's drank 4 cups of coffee. I'll go ahead and track it on stream. That way you can see it too. That makes more sense. Also, thank you for the hydrated, mem. Because I'm just that crazy. Alright. If I see any sign that you are, I'll treat you to another cup of my special blend. You don't need to worry about that, Mr. Godot. I have faith in Ron. I know he didn't do it. At the CEO's office. When I entered the office, there was a suspicious shadow there. Suddenly, I was hit on the forehead. After that, I remember being a bit dazed. If I hadn't been hit, if I hadn't been wearing that, you would have been killed. Okay, let's start by pressing everything like we always do. Who is this suspicious shadow? If there were 1,000 of me, and if even one knew, I'd tell you, trust me. His dodging all our questions is not helping us win his case. Okay, then how was the victim Mr. Bullard at that time? What do you mean by how was he? Was he already dead? Was he still alive? Maybe he was the one who hit you in the first place. That's a good question. What do you think, Mr. Wright? Forget it. Suddenly, I was hit on the forehead. After that, I remember being a bit dazed. Your forehead? Yes, I was hit on the forehead as soon as I entered the room. It was an amazingly fast and powerful attack. Do you remember anything about who hit you? Well, like I said, it was fast. It was a fast and powerful hit. So I think I was a little dazed for a while. I don't think Mr. Delay even grasped what you were asking. Yeah, I'd like to show him a fast and powerful attack myself. Maybe that would knock some sense back into him. If I hadn't been wearing that, I would have been killed. That? Could you please clarify what you were referring to? Why, my mask to mask costume, of course. Wait just a moment. Mask to mask? Huh? Oh, did I forget to mention it before? Just to be on the safe side, I dressed as mask to mask. And then I descended upon the office of the CEO of KB Security. What? Nick, did you know about this? He never told me this. I don't recall him ever mentioning it to me either. Even I didn't know that. Seems our little friend really loves to keep secrets. I'm sorry, I just never had a chance to mention it up until now. Wait, that's not right. You know how sometimes things just slip your mind? Huh. My 6th cup of coffee is staring up at me coldly. 6th? Hello? So the count's already off. Because, yeah. That was a fun little experiment. Anyway, supposedly this is a 6th cup of coffee. So I'll go ahead and up it to 6. And we'll see just how accurate it pertains. Because I don't think that I messed it up. He had 2 before the court? Sure. Okay. So I don't think I messed it up. But I'm going to bump it up to 6. Because he says he's on number 6. And we'll see what happens. At any rate, we can't ignore this new piece of information. Witness, please correct your testimony. I'd have been killed if I wasn't wearing my Master Mask costume. Okay. Why were you dressed up as Master Mask? Why, because I'm Master Mask, of course. What are you talking about? Master Mask trial is being held next door. Yes, I guess so. Anyway, at that time, I thought if I was being blackmailed over the Mask to Mask issue, So I thought I should go as him just to be safe. Oh boy. Let me tell you, it's a real pain to move around with that cape. That's why it took a lot longer than I'd expected. Took a lot longer? What is he talking about? I would like to know. What do you mean by took a lot longer? Oh, opening the safe, of course. My cape got caught on the safe door, you see. This all happened when I was hiding Mr. Bullard's body. What was that? Back up a second. Yes? You were the one that hid the body in the safe? Well, yeah. Inconceivable! Why? Just why? What reason could you have? What were you thinking? Question. When does someone toss their dirty shorts in the washing machine? What? The answer is simple. When they take them off. As usual, I have no idea what you're saying. Do you mean that Mr. Delight hid the body because he's the murderer? Ha! So you're not as stupid as you look. His metaphor this time was really obscure. Mr. Wright, you don't mean that you knew about this whole safe business, do you? Well, yes. Why am I the only one not in the loop here? Witness, make sure you add this to the testimony. Yes, sir. Uh-oh, looks like a storm front is moving in over the fair weather judge. I panicked and hid the body in the safe. It took about 10 minutes. Okay. Me too, Emma. I'm very excited to see you. So, it jumped over here, but I am going to press this. When you came to? Yes, I was passed out in the corner of the room. Do you know when your assailant made their escape and to where? I'm afraid I don't really remember. Huh? Once they hit me, I lost all track of what was going on. I think that's when they made their escape. Huh, that's certainly a convenient story for you, isn't it? It certainly is, isn't it, Mr. Wright? It almost sounds practiced. I don't know why you're telling me. Put in perspective. I don't know what you mean. 2 more Monday. I know. I'm very excited. Why did you hide the body in the safe anyway? Well, because it wouldn't fit in a drawer. Ron! That's not what we're asking. That's not exactly what I meant. When I saw that corpse, I kinda lost it. Yeah, fair point, but that's not what we meant. I thought if they find this corpse, they'll think I did it. Huh, I think you had a simpler reason than that. It's because you killed him. That's why you spent 10 minutes hiding the body. That certainly makes more sense. Hold on. 10 minutes? What is it, Nick? Why would he spend 10 minutes doing that when the buzzer went off at 1:02? Yep. I just had a thought. Under those circumstances, would you normally try to hide the body and spend 10 whole minutes to do it? Under those circumstances? What circumstances? Oh! Hey, Nick, if you think his behavior was so strange, why don't you present some evidence that would show just what those circumstances were? That's it. I'll take a look at the court record and present some evidence. We heard this from Mr. Delight yesterday, didn't we? There's not much in his testimony either. I bet you he's still hiding something. Wouldn't be surprised. We'll just have to draw it out of him. I just hope he doesn't make things any more complicated. Yeah, I think he's about to make things more complicated. Your Honor, could you please take a look at this record? And what might this be? The record for the emergency buzzer that connects the CEO's office to security. If that button in the office is pressed, a security team is supposed to come running. And according to this record, the buzzer was pushed once at 1:02 a.m. What? If Mr. Rondelite truly was the murderer, he would have ran as soon as that buzzer sounded. After all, a security guard would have been heading his way.
Objection!
Huh. Let's remember who we're dealing with here. He probably had no idea there were security personnel in the building.
Objection!
He used to work there? Yeah. Up until 1 year ago, my client was working as a chief of security. There's no way he wouldn't have known about it.
Objection!
But, as it turns out, the guard never came. That was nothing more than a coincidence. The fact that the guard was a pathetic loser, who had just gotten punched in the face by his ex's new boyfriend, and wasn't anywhere in the vicinity, was not something Mr. Delight could have known.
Objection!
Again, remember who we're dealing with here. It's a sure bet that Mr. Delight didn't even notice the buzzer going off.
Objection!
This buzzer is extremely loud. There's no way he could have ignored something like that. If he had been conscious, that is. Conscious? What do you mean by that? Hug. Okay, coffee cup number 7. Y'all correct me. Y'all correct me if I miss one. But I'm pretty sure that we're still at number 7. C's playing Danganronpa? What? I'm sorry. Okay, if y'all don't know anything about me, I absolutely love Danganronpa. Like, Danganronpa is my thing. Wait. Okay. Wait. He's going live at 9:30. He's playing some Stranova and then later playing Danganronpa. Oh my god! Okay, I'm reading into him. I am reading into him. I just read it on his Discord. He's playing something else. I'm rating C after this stream. Like, guaranteed. Fine, let's hear your theory. Recall the defendant's testimony. The moment he entered the victim's office, someone attacked him. Mr. Delight said he felt dazed. I'm willing to wager that he was knocked unconscious for at least a few minutes. Thank you for telling me that, MM. That's awesome. And thank you for the hydrate. Unconscious? So he fainted? That's why Mr. Delight didn't know that the buzzer had sounded. And that's why he thought he had time to hide the body. So what are you trying to say? Mr. Delight was knocked out, and the buzzer went off soon afterwards. Now, unless my client was able to hit the buzzer while he was unconscious, it can only mean that there was another person in that room. That's right. Whoever it was, they knocked out Ron Delight and then pressed the buzzer. Order in the court. Mr. Wright. This is preposterous. It was this kid. Rhonda Light is the one who killed Kane Bullard. Then who pressed the buzzer? It was the victim, of course. He pressed the buzzer when the defendant attacked him. He didn't die right away. He must have held on long enough to push that button. Ack! So Kane Bullard sounded the buzzer himself. What is your opinion on this, Mr. Wright? I need to prove the real criminal was there at the scene. But how? Can I prove that it wasn't Kane Bullard who sounded the buzzer? Can I? There's no fingerprints. So, yeah, I can. Or can I? No, I think I can because there were no fingerprints. He would have had the fingerprint. He would have, if he pressed it, there would have been fingerprints. Yeah, I can prove it, I think. The defense opinion is this, Your Honor. This piece of evidence proves it wasn't the victim who sounded the buzzer. The buzzer itself not having fingerprints. I believe this is a piece of incontrovertible evidence you were looking for. The emergency buzzer? Is this some kind of clue on it? Absolutely not. Okay, number 7, or number 8, excuse me. We're on number 8. Hey, come on now. At least give some thought to what you say before opening your mouth. The fact that there are absolutely no clues is itself the clue. Now I'm the one who's clueless. This button here has no fingerprints on it. If Mr. Bullard had really pressed it himself, naturally he would have left his fingerprints behind. Rhonda Light obviously wiped them off. Why would he? A guard could have come in at any moment. He touched that button. I know he did. The defendant, Mr. Delight, was dressed as Master Mask. And Master Mask always wears gloves. What reason could he possibly have had to wipe the button free of fingerprints? Order, order, order. Huh. It would seem. Number 9. I've been forced to eat crow. I wonder what blood number crow flavored coffee is. However, if the real killer was there at the scene, why would that person press the emergency buzzer? Shouldn't they have run away without putting themselves in extra danger? What's with this awkward silence all of a sudden? Huh. It looks like you're fresh out of parlor tricks. They're on you, Nick. Just give me a minute to collect my thoughts. The real culprit killed Mr. Bullard at around 1 a.m. And Mr. Delight just happened to waltz in when the murder was taking place, right? The killer clobbered Mr. Delight and then sounded the buzzer. Even though security was supposed to respond right away if the buzzer was pressed. Security was supposed to respond. Time's up, Mr. Wright. Let's hear what you have to say. Very well, then. Oh, you've got some guts. I like that in an opponent. Why did the real killer sound the emergency buzzer? To call the security guard. The killer knew that if they pressed the button, a guard would come running. And that was exactly what they wanted. Do you mean to say the killer called the guard on purpose? Yes, although as it turns out, he never showed up. Because he was getting his clock cleaned at the time. Ha, what a touching story. You're saying the killer had a change of heart and called the guard to turn himself in? No, I'm not. When the buzzer sounded, there were 3 people in that office. The victim, Kane Bullard, who was already dead. The defendant, Rhonda Light, who was out cold. And the third person, the real killer. Hypothetically, yes. Now then, in this situation, if the real killer made an escape, what would happen? The only ones left in the room would be the victim and Rhonda Light. And if any security guards came running in at that time, they would think that I was the murderer. Yes, that was precisely the killer's objective. To frame Rhonda Light for the murder. Spit out your coffee. Order, order, order. Huh, it would seem. Number 10. We're on coffee cup number 10. I've been made to eat my words once again. Actually, you've been made to do a spit take with a cup of coffee. But Mr. Wright, who was it? Who was it that tried to frame me? Wait a second. I'm the one and only Master Mass, so... Nick, you mean the real killer is... We're going to drag that person in here right now. But who is it? I don't have any solid proof yet, but think about it. The killer knew Mr. Delight's identity, and they also knew that he had been called to KB security that night. So the killer used him to execute a well-crafted plan to murder Kane Bullard. Now then, let's hear your accusation, Mr. Wright. Who was it that framed Rhonda Light for the murder of Kane Bullard? It was Luke Abney. Detective Luke Abney. He's the only one who could have done it. Ace Detective Luke Abney? You mean Master Mass did it? Your Honor, the person being tried in the court next to us is not Master Mass. He is in actuality the true murderer of Kane Bullard. Order, order. Mr. Wright, explain yourself. Theft and murder. Which is the more serious crime? They're not even close. Murder is the more serious crime, of course. It's a capital crime, subject to a capital punishment. Please remember the trial from yesterday, if you would. When Luke Abney confessed, there was a huge commotion in the courtroom. Of course, a famous detective was unmasked as, well, as Master Mask. Instead of being convicted of murder, he was found guilty of grand larceny. That was his true objective all along. To be found guilty? Master Mask had the perfect alibi for when the murder took place. He was stealing the urn at Lordly Taylor. In other words, being found guilty as Master Mask was Luke Abney's airtight, watertight, and unassailable alibi. A guilty verdict as an alibi? You know, it's almost time. For what? For Luke Abney's verdict. It was a pretty simple trial after all. If we're going to stop this trial and stall that one, we need to do it now. Of course, that's assuming you have proof that the detective was the one who committed the murder. Mr. Luke Abney's trial has indeed attracted the attention of the entire country. If we were to intrude and fail to provide adequate proof of his true crime, Mr. Delight would be left with no grounds for appeal. Am I really sure about this? Huh. A bet's only good when your life's the answer. Mr. Wright, I believe in you, Mr. Delight. So please, I'm begging you. Thanks, but my decision will determine the rest of your life. Can I really risk your life like this? Phoenix. There's Mia. What was that? Don't stray, Phoenix. For your client, take the path of trust. That voice. It sounds like Mia. Your Honor, the defense requests an immediate recess. Huh. So that's your answer, huh? Very well. I've decided as well. This court will now take a 20-minute recess. Mr. Wright, when we return, please summon Mr. Luke Apney to the stand. Yes, Your Honor. October 14th, 11:58 a.m. District Court, courtroom number 5. Well, Sir Detective Apney. I have to say, Mr. Payne, you performed splendidly. Oh no, Sir Detective Apney. You were the one who... That's enough. This court sees no reason to further prolong this trial. This court finds the defendant, Luke Apney...
Hold it!
Wait! Don't hand down your verdict yet. Please! Well, well, Sir Lawyer. Welcome to my courtroom. Who's this hoser, eh? My name is Phoenix Wright, attorney at law, and I wish to file an accusation against this man, Luke Apney. An accusation? You accuse Master Mask? That man is not Master Mask. He's just a ruthless murderer. What? To be continued. We're gonna keep going. We are gonna keep going. October 14th, defendant lobby number 4. I swear I can talk. My sis? I could have sworn I heard Mia's voice. So then, she's still alive inside your heart. Nicky boy! Oh, Miss Delight. Is it true that Detective is the real killer? To be honest, we don't have any definite proof. But he's the only one who could have done it. But wasn't he at Lordly Taylor that night? Not to mention, we don't exactly know his motive. I mean, why would Detective Apney want to kill Kane Bullard? Oops, it's almost time. Better get back to the courtroom. I need to find some solid proof, and it's gotta happen sooner rather than later. Now then, this court is back in session. Mr. Luke Apney, please take the stand. Well, well, how do you do, Sir Lawyer? I never would have thought to see you acting so recklessly. I couldn't let them hand down your verdict just yet, not when it would have given you your perfect alibi. An alibi by the name of Master Mask. I'm sorry, I'm afraid even the great Luke Apney has no idea what you mean. Of course, I've been in the next courtroom ever since 10 o'clock this morning. I'm afraid there's no way I could know what's been going on in here. You've been in the defendant's seat all day long, correct? Being tried as Master Mask. Indeed, it's truly child's play to fool the ignorant masses. Not only did the poor fools ask me to protect their valuables, they even gave me a generous reward upon returning their own property to them. Take this red diamond ring that sparkles upon my divine finger, for example. So you continue to insist that you are, in fact, Master Mask? Of course. Very well then, Luke Apney. Let's begin with this simple question. On October 12th at 1 a.m., Kane Bullard was murdered. Where were you at that time? One without knowledge lacks even the knowledge that he should be ashamed of himself. But don't worry, I will not hold it against you, Sir Judge. Thanks. Number 11. We are on cup number 11. Alright, Mr. Apney, the night of the murder. Speak. We're all ears. As you wish, Sir Prosecutor. I was stealing the urn as Master Mask, just as I announced I would. I had more than enough time to prepare. It was a pathetically easy job. A photograph contains no words. But in this case, one turned out to be my witness. The time at which the camera captured Master Mask was the same time as the murder. It seems the main point of discussion will be the photo of the crime scene. Everything else up until now was all part of his plan. There has to be a secret to this picture as well. Even the great Master Mask cannot be in two places at once. Now then, if you'll excuse me, I have a verdict to receive. Unfortunately, Mr. Atney, we still have to do your cross-examination. A fool is too foolish to know that he is a fool. I think he's trying to say that you're full of it, Nick. The only thing that's full of it is his alibi. So this photograph is the proof, correct? Indeed it is. And the man in the photo was certainly wearing a mask. That is why I am called Master Mask. But conveniently, that also means there is no way to tell who this really is. What do you mean?
Objection!
Huh, are you saying that this is not in fact Luke Atney? That it could be an accomplice dressed up as Master Mask to create an alibi? Ho-ho, what an interesting idea. Are you saying that I, Lone Wolf Luke, had an accomplice? No. If Luke Atney was at KB Security during the murder, then Master Mask in the picture has to be a fake. Then there really was an accomplice. But right now, I have no idea who it was. I don't have any idea right now either. Baseless objections are just what the guy wants. There's gotta be another way, and I'm gonna find it. I had more than enough time to prepare. It was a pathetically easy job. I believe Adrian Andrew hired you at one point. Adrian Andrews, excuse me. That's right. That was over 20 days ago, if I'm not mistaken. You sent the calling card to Lordly Taylor 10 days before the heist. That would mean you sent out the card after you began your security watch, right? Indeed. There was no reason why I couldn't do both jobs at once. It was the perfect opportunity to steal my latest target. I see. You truly are evil, aren't you? Yes, evil is what I am. Hey, Nick, isn't there something odd about this? Detective Apney was always proud of his ace detective skills, right? But if the urn was stolen from Lordly Taylor while he was the only one watching it, he'd have no way to maintain this perfect ace detective persona. You know, that's true. It is kind of odd. The photograph contains no words, but in this case, one turned out to be my witness. So by photograph, you mean this piece of evidence here, is that correct? Indeed it is, that is it. The very thing that proves I committed the crime. The very thing that proves you committed the crime. When you think about it, it's really odd. You say that almost as if you had this picture taken on purpose.
Objection!
He was simply caught by the very camera that he had set up. We all have days like that. Indeed, it turned out that there was no such thing as the perfect crime after all. Life is truly an ironic thing. A sad blue melody. Looks like I'd better gather more information for now. If he's truly the killer, there's gotta be something phony in that photo. The time at which the camera captured Master Mask was the same time as the murder. About the camera that took this photograph. Oh, come now. It's all too clear what you're thinking. Huh? You think I altered the timestamp on the photograph, don't you? I'm afraid that's impossible. The camera was set up by Lordly Taylor, and on top of that, it was Lordly Taylor's staff that printed the picture's data. Unfortunately for the defense, there's no way that picture could have been altered. I see. Looks like I better find something else that could be suspicious. So this alibi is false? It has to be, or he couldn't have killed Mr. Bullard at KB Security. But I'm not really spotting anything unusual. There are two possibilities. Either the mask in the photo is a fake, or the photo itself is. I don't know what we're getting at. I mean, I can try pressing again.
Hold it! Objection! Hold it!
Hey Nick, isn't there something odd about this? Detective Abney was always proud of his ace. Oh, I already did this.
Hold it!
Come on, think long and hard about that night. The basement warehouse and this picture that supposedly captures it. It's gotta be here. Isn't there something funny about this picture? Yes. Are you implying that this picture is a fake? You bet I am. There's definitely something strange about this picture. We took a look around the basement warehouse that night before the theft took place. And there's something in this photo that doesn't match my memory of that night. Very well, then let's hear what you have to say. What about this photograph do you find funny? The paint.
Take that!
The funny part is right here. Why this is a blood stain. It's not a blood stain. Ah, blood. Now this case is getting interesting. Not exactly. The stain is actually pink paint. Oh, just paint. And peach colored at that. From blood to peaches, the judge sure loves going on his wild tangents. The problem with this photograph is not the paint. The problem is, when you consider the layout of the basement warehouse, it turns out that something that should be there is nowhere to be seen. Well, Mr. Wright, what is supposed to be in this picture instead of the paint stains?
Take that!
The supervisor of the treasure exhibit stated the following. Well, there's a good reason for that. On the day of the crime, around noon, that golden statue just happened to arrive from the mountain training hall. I realized that the statue would be the perfect size for covering up the paint stains. That's why I put it where you first saw it. I myself was there that night, the night the theft took place, and saw the statue in that spot. If the statue was truly taken on that night, then the statue should have been there. But when I went there the day after the theft, that statue of the old bag was sitting in the corner. Perhaps it was somehow pushed there accidentally? Your Honor, the statue is slightly larger than yourself and quite heavy. It would take more than an accidental shove, an accidental push to move it that distance. Ha! In that case, can you prove it? Can you give us the rhyme and reason as to why that statue was moved that night? Oh my god. Can you do it, Nick? Never mind who moved it. The real question is, why did they move it? Well, Mr. Wright, I hope you're prepared with your answer. Now then, who was the one that moved the golden statue on the night of the crime? It was Luke. The one who moved the statue was none other than Luke Apney. Come now, Sir Lawyer. There you go again on one of your strange solutions. Mr. Wright, what basis do you have for your strange solutions? It's very simple. The witness was the only one in the basement warehouse that night. That is indeed very simple. However, why would I want to move a heavy golden statue? The reason for moving the golden statue, here's where our battle really begins. Well, Mr. Wright, what reason did the witness have to move that statue? The reason can be found here in this photograph. Luke Apney, you pretended to be Master Mask to create an alibi by showing you were at Lordly Taylor's that night. Okay, let me deal with this real quick. But this photograph contains a single fatal flaw. If the statue had been there, your lie would be exposed like cheap film at a drugstore. That is why you had to move the statue. A single fatal flaw? Interesting theory. Please enlighten us. Just where in this photo does the lie exist? The timestamp. Naturally, the lie in this photo is the timestamp. What do you mean? I'll tell you exactly what I mean. On the night in question, Luke Apney went to KB Security and murdered Kane Bullard. Therefore, it's obvious. It would have been impossible for him to have been at Lordly Taylor at this time. But what does it have to do with the statue being moved? Remember, if you will, Your Honor, when was the statue placed besides the warehouse door? Well, the statue was taken down to the warehouse on the day of the crime. It was placed there in order to cover up the paint. Exactly. Luke Apney had already decided on the time when he was going to kill the victim. And so, in order to create an alibi for that time, he took this picture days before the murder took place. What the? Of course, the statue hadn't been brought down to the basement warehouse yet. Ah, so on the day of the crime, Mr. Apney must have been quite nervous. As nervous as a long-tailed cat in a rocking chair factory, so to speak. Why? Because something that wasn't supposed to be there had been brought down and placed where it wasn't supposed to be. And that is why Luke Apney had to move the statue on the night of the murder. He did it to make the real match the way it had been in his photo. Wah! Order, order. Mr. Apney, is this true? One moment, Your Honor. Have you forgotten this? What's that? The data for the basement warehouse computer. According to this, the camera did indeed go off on the night of the crime. It's true that the camera had been set up by Lordly Taylor's staff. However, the program used to manage that data was yours. That alone would have allowed you to tamper with the data. Order, order. Mr. Godot, what's the meaning of this? Godot, I warned you about making me wait. Now put that coffee down. My 11th cup. Okay, so we're accurate right now. We're accurate so far. Although you've been sipping on that 11th cup for a while. I've promised to drink no more than 17 during a trial, which means I'm still good till the last straw. However, the defense is a very good point. A good point? So what? We are all but travelers on a road of infinite points. I think he's got his points mixed up with his other points. So you say this photograph was taken ahead of time, and that the statue was moved in order to make it match? That's a very interesting idea. However, there's one point that can't be denied, which is number 12. That it's only a possibility. Men that are trapped by the chains of maybe can never reach their dreams. That's very true. No way, don't fall for that, Your Honor. Hey, Mr. Damask. Yes? If there's no funny business in your actions as Master Mask, there should be no problem with you telling us your strategy. So let's hear it. Yes, please provide this court with your testimony about your plan to steal the sacred urn. I first received a request from Lordly Taylor about 20 days ago. The urn was placed in a box and Savari. It was then sent to the warehouse. Hence, I was actually unable to see the urn for myself until the day of the crime. I knew it was an extremely valuable treasure, so I sent my card 10 days beforehand. Extremely valuable might be extremely valuable, my ass. There was somewhere where it said that it was like worthless. Right? I guess not, but I could have sworn there was somewhere that said it was like worthless. I knew it was an extremely valuable treasure, so I sent my card 10 days beforehand. I then handled security by myself to ensure that my crime would go smoothly. At last, I held the urn in my hands for the first time at 1 a.m. on October 12th. It's pretty much all the stuff we've heard before, isn't it? Yeah, but we'll find the truth hidden in the nuggets of new information he gave. Witness, you're sure there are no mistakes this time? Savari. Very well then, Mr. Wright. You may begin your cross-examination. The Sacred Urn Heist. I first received a request from Lordly Taylor about 20 days ago.
Hold it!
he streams so I can look at it a little bit. But he's still playing Shrinova. I do want to watch him play Phoenix or play Danganronpa when he goes live. Or when he swaps to that, but I'm gonna focus on this for right now. You're asked to guard the urn by Miss Adrian Andrews, is that right? Indeed. It seemed that they had heard of my... Excuse me. It seemed they had heard of my Svarkling reputation. I see Miss Andrews is still attracting the weirdos. You'd probably watch out too, Maya. Urn was placed in a box and sent to the warehouse. You mean this box? Yes, that pathetic box. Lady Andrews was especially taken with that urn, and she wouldn't let anyone enter the storeroom. Not even me. Huh, interesting new tidbit. Hence, I was actually unable to see the urn for myself until the day of the crime. So you're sure that you had never seen the urn before? Indeed. You may ask Lady Andrews to confirm for yourself. My security was focused entirely on the entrance to that warehouse. However, I, Luke Apney, let no information whatsoever slip through my fingers. I knew it was an extremely valuable treasure, so I sent my card 10 days beforehand. You mean this calling card? That's right, that is without a doubt my calling card. I need to see something. Can I read this? To the security at Lordly Taylor, I will be coming to purloin the most priceless work of art in display at your Treasures of Korean exhibit. Take good care of the speckled urn, won't you? Oh, I see it now. Very interesting. Because here it says I am. This is before there was paint on it or anything, before it was broken. This says the speckled urn, which clearly is talking about the paint on the urn. Two weeks ago. So he must have seen it before he sent the calling card. That's right, this is without a doubt my calling card. I guess Mr. Delight didn't make this after all. Of course, because Apney knew about the emblem. Making this card authentic would have been child's play for him. I then handled security by myself to ensure that my crime would go smoothly. Then no one entered the basement warehouse? Unfortunately, there were many different treasures being taken there. Thus, for a period of approximately 5 days, people were indeed going in and out of the warehouse. At last, I held the urn in my hands for the first time at 1 a.m. on October 12th. And this is a photo that proves that, huh? Indeed. To be honest, even if a photo was taken, I didn't think it would matter terribly much. Hey, Nick, if this photo is a fake, Detective Apney might have stolen the urn whenever this was taken. That's true. You know, he's been saying that he never saw the urn until that night. If we can prove that he's lying there, we can wrap this up and put a bow on it. I need to take a good hard look at the court record. Not a lot to go on, is there? That detective's been covering his tracks. There's only one thing we need to prove in this cross-examination. That he took this photo well before the actual night of the crime. Alright then, how do we do that? There's one thing that Apney stated very clearly, that he had never seen the urn before he stole it. We need to prove that he's lying. And that we will. Never saw the urn. I call bullshit on that. Mr. Apney, if you really are Master Mask, then you also wrote this calling card, correct? But of course. Is there a problem with that calling card? Allow me to read a passage from the calling card that Master Mask had written. Take good care of the speckled urn. Now, the speckled here surely refers to this pink pattern on the sacred urn. Yes, that is true, but so what? Truth be told, there is no way that Master Mask could have known about this pattern. What do you mean? This pink spotted pattern on the urn is actually nothing more than paint stains. Paint stains? And these stains did not appear until after the urn had been taken to Lordly Taylor. Cup number 13. And thank you for the hydrate. I'm not finding this joke to be very funny, Mr. Trite. The day that the sacred urn was taken to the warehouse, the urn was broken due to human error. Or should I say, error-prone human. An error-prone human. And that's when the pink paint got on the urn. Ugh, you can't be serious. And yet this calling card clearly mentions the paint pattern. Which means Detective Apney had seen this urn long before the crime ever took place. In fact, he saw it when this fake photo was taken. And because this photo is a fake, your alibi for the night of the murder no longer holds water. Witness, do you have anything to say for yourself? Alright, that did it. He's broken. Nick? I think it's still a little early for a victory pose. Huh? 14! Ha. It's so sad. No one has any conviction these days. Conviction, you say? Yesterday, we all decided unanimously that this man was Master Mask, and now we're calling him a murderer. You don't think we're being a tad fickle? That's a good point. No way, don't fall for that too, Your Honor. You say that Luke Apney was the one who killed Kane Bullard? And let me ask you this. Why would he do that? An excellent point. Motive, Mr. Wright, motive. Might you, my merry murderous motive manifest? Nick, he's getting a second wind. If he prepared an alibi and pinned his crime on Ron DeLite, as you say, he must have had a very strong motive for murder. The only one with any motive we've seen is Ron DeLite. Isn't that right, Detective? Indeed, according to my own research, the boy's motive is clear. Without a motive, it's nearly impossible to prove guilt in a murder case. Now then, maybe you can enlighten us as to what the defendant's motives were. I'd be honored to, Sir Old-Timer. They're doing everything they can to make Ron look suspicious. Despite our lack of hard information, this may be our only chance. I, Luke Apney, had no points of contact with the victim whatsoever. Kane Bullard decided to investigate Mask to Mask and simply mistook who he was. It was Mr. Bullard who wrote the blackmail letter and sent it to Rhonda Light. It was again Mr. Bullard who harbored a grudge against Mr. Delight for his betrayal. Mr. Bullard's mistake is quite excusable. The defendant truly believes he is Mask to Mask. That is why Mr. Delight saw it fit to kill Kane Bullard. Truly a tragedy. So the victim, Kane Bullard, blackmailed the defendant. This is the blackmail letter found in the defendant's apartment. A handwriting test confirms that Mr. Bullard was indeed the one who wrote the letter. What? Blackmail letter updated in the court record. Very well, Mr. Wright. Begin your cross-examination. I, Luke Apney, had no points of contact with the victim whatsoever. Kane Bullard decided to investigate Mask to Mask and simply mistook who he was. Okay. And who in the world is going to prove that? I will. After doing a thorough background check of Detective Apney and Kane Bullard, we were unable to find any links between them. It's all in the report. Perhaps they were connected through their work. They were both involved in security. Nope. That was blunt. In any case, the only one with a motive was Mr. Delight. Kane Bullard decided to investigate Mask to Mask and simply mistook who he was. Mistook? That's right, mistook. From the Old Norse mistaka, meaning to take in error. That wasn't what I meant. Just who did the victim mistake Mask to Mask to be? Right, the answer is obvious. Rhonda Light, of course. Boy, I'd like to wipe that smug look off this guy's face. Leave it. I can't stand to hear any more of his long-winded stories. I'll hold off on pressuring him further for now. That's fine. Please continue testimony. Oh, I was looking forward to one of his long-winded stories. It was Mr. Bullard who wrote the blackmail letter. You mean this blackmail letter right here? It says bring $50,000. And the handwriting is without a doubt the victim's. There's no mistake. We have an official report to prove it. But I don't see an addressee on this letter anywhere. An addressee? This letter was discovered in Rhonda Light's apartment, and Mr. Delight did show up at the designated place and time. The fact that there is no addressee is irrelevant. I wonder... What's up, Nick? I just had a thought. What if that blackmail letter wasn't meant for Mr. Delight? Whoa, do you have any evidence of that? For some reason, I just can't shake the feeling that there's something not quite right about this blackmail letter. Well, everyone, are you quite satisfied? And it was again Mr. Bullard who harbored a grudge against Mr. Delight for his betrayal. What do you mean by that? Oh my, I was certain you were already aware. Savari. KB Security has a lot of security info on all sorts of companies, and since I was a security team chief, I stole data from the company. Kane Bullard had yet to forgive young Mr. Delight, which is why he sent him that letter upon mistakenly believing he was a thief. Here is a file that we discovered in Mr. Bullard's office. Evidence that Mr. Bullard was receiving money through blackmail. However, isn't this a bit odd? Why did the defendant pay Mr. Bullard the money, even though he wasn't actually Mask to Mask? On that point, there was an unfortunate bit of chance. Mr. Bullard's mistake is quite excusable. The defendant truly believes he is Master Mask. Do you really think that story is gonna hold up? That assertion is not merely my own, I'm afraid. What do you mean? I have here a memo from Ron Delight's wife, Desiree Delight. Number 15. Ronnie thinks he's Master Mask. Don't you feel sorry for him? Please don't think too badly of him. Huh. Well, Mr. Trite. Ugh. Was he trying to act like Miss Delight right now? I thought he was actually pretty convincing. That is why Mr. Delight saw it fit to kill Kane Bullard. Truly a tragedy. Now that's just your imagination talking. Come now, Sir Lawyer. I'm afraid imagination isn't the right word for it. This is a deduction, the result of carefully applied reasoning. Can we hear that careful reasoning for ourselves? It's a long story and better saved for another time. Very well, another time. Those so-called long stories aren't usually all that long. At least not in my experience. So you're going to try and connect Detective Apney to Mr. Bullard, right? Yeah, that's right. Hopefully it won't require surgery either. In that case, you'll have to talk about the blackmail. That's true. Was that blackmail letter really intended for Ron? Since we don't have enough information, you should press him for more testimony. Maybe I'll be able to shake some contradictions loose that way. You mean this blackmail letter? This letter was discovered in Ron Delight's apartment, and Mr. Delight did show up at the designated place and time. The fact that there was no addressee is irrelevant. I wonder. What's up, Nick? I just had a thought. What if that blackmail letter wasn't meant for Mr. Delight? Whoa, do you have any evidence of that? For some reason, I can't shake the feeling. There's something not quite right. Well, everyone, are you quite satisfied? I think it's this one. Press harder. Why would the victim mistake the defendant for Master Mask? Don't you already know that? Zavari, take a look at this newspaper. Oh, that's the famous Tear of Emanon, a magnificent jewel. That photo shows a magnificent detective as well, does it not? Furthermore, it also shows an ugly guard, namely the defendant. The defendant? The victim clearly misread this article, and Safari, he got the wrong impression. The impression that this ugly security guard was in fact Master Mask. I see. That was an unusually reasonable deduction. I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing here. I'm trying to think this through. Like, I don't actually know what I'm doing here. Am I just overthinking it? If you don't, I'll take that red diamond you received the other day instead. The red diamond on Luke's finger?
Objection!
Mind if I ask you a few questions, Detective Apney? Well, if it's just a few, I guess it's alright. When you said that this letter was addressed to Rhonda Light, I couldn't help but notice one major contradiction. Contradiction? I don't know where a walking contradiction like you gets off saying things like that. You're one to talk. Times like these, men are made to express themselves with their fists. Why don't you show us what you've got there, Junior? Indeed, time to man up, Mr. Wright. Show us the contradicting evidence in the blackmail Show us the contradicting evidence in the content of the blackmail letter. So the blackmail letter, if it was addressed to Ron, would more than likely be referring to the jewel of Eminon, which we learned about in the newspaper clipping, but that's blue. And that's the only gem that Ron Delight would have if he was Mask to Mask. So, that's the only other thing I can think of. Take a good look at this newspaper clipping. It contains a picture of the Tear of Eminon, the stolen jewel. What about it? The problem is this jewel's color. Color? I'm not much for discussing color myself. According to the clipping, the color of the stolen jewel was blue. However, in this blackmail letter, a totally different jewel is mentioned. I'll take that red diamond you received the other day. Red? Which means the red diamond described in the blackmail letter is not the Tear of Eminon that Master Mask stole at all.
Objection!
And your point is, Mr. Trey? So you're trying to say that this blackmail letter was intended for someone else? That's what you're trying to say, right, Trey? That's what you're trying to say, right, Mr. Wright? Well, that is what you're trying to say, right, Nick? Yes. This is who Kane Bullard was actually blackmailing. Luke Apney! And there's your motive. Naturally, it was you, Detective Apney. Do you have some sort of basis for that claim? There's a red diamond staring me right in the face. You have been personally involved in every single Mask to Mask case. And in the last case, you recovered what was stolen and received a jewel as your reward. A jewel? Probably the one wrapped conspicuously around your finger. That red diamond ring. That is the diamond referred to in the letter, which means that Kane Bullard wrote that letter in order to blackmail you. Ah! Order in the court. Order, I say. Number 16! Give it up for coffee number 16. And remember, he said he never drinks more than 17, so we're getting pretty close, according to this logic. Seems you've gone too far with your childish pranks, Mr. Trite. Uh-oh, I don't like the way he said that. Kane Bullard blackmailing Luke Apney. Are you for real? Yes, I am. Nick, come on, stand up to him. Then answer me this. The blackmail letter contains the following passage. If you don't want your identity revealed to the world. Yes, it certainly does. Kane Bullard threatened to make Luke Apney's identity public knowledge. An identity he wanted to keep a secret. So just what was that identity? Apney killed Kane Bullard because he was afraid of his secret becoming known. What was the identity he wanted to keep secret? This is what it all comes down to, Nick. The identity that Luke Apney wanted to so desperately keep secret was his identity as a blackmailer. Luke Apney was a blackmailer.
Objection.
Hey now, isn't that a little different from what you've been saying? You said that Kane Bullard was the one blackmailing Luke Apney. Are you saying that Apney was blackmailing someone else on top of that? Hug, you have to admit, that does sound a little odd. It's not odd, it's the only thing that makes any sense. Kane Bullard was blackmailing Luke Apney. But Rhonda Light was also being blackmailed by a certain someone. So did you start receiving blackmail letters after this incident? Yes, just a few days after the Tear of Emanon heist. After that, I started getting the plans in the mail. I received plans from some very kind person. Incredibly detailed plans. Detailed plans? In which case, that would mean that Rhonda Light was actually Mask to Mask. That is what we are claiming. Someone else came up with the plans and had Mr. Delight steal his targets for him. And that someone was none other than Luke Apney. Shh! Silence! Now I see. It's all becoming clear. What is? When you were in grade school, you received the same report card every year. Careless, with the tendency to jump to conclusions. Am I wrong? How did you... You say that I, Luke Apney, was blackmailing Rhonda Light? In which case, I would naturally know all about his relation to Mask to Mask. Well, yes. Rhonda Light started receiving plans from his second crime onward, correct? Which means I learned of his identity when he committed the first crime. Good point. You certainly couldn't have blackmailed him otherwise. Number 17! So he's not gonna take another cup of coffee, supposedly. In that case, let's see some hot, bitter evidence. During the first crime, how did Luke Apney know that Rhonda Light was Mask to Mask? He knew because he was there. I think I see it. See what? When you were in grade school, you received the same report card every year. Gets into lots of mischief, trying to be the center of attention. What do you mean? This newspaper clipping has a picture of you and Rhonda Light in his guard uniform. It seems that Mask to Mask didn't just disappear in the thin air. He just took off his outfit and hid it in the bucket. That sounds far too stupid to be true. Correct. With tricks like that, he couldn't fool a baby, let alone an ace detective. That's when you figured it out, Mr. Apney. That's when you learned that under his mask, Mask to Mask was really Ron Delight. What the? Wasn't he supposed to be Mask to Mask? Not only that, it looks like he wasn't even an ace detective. I can't believe it. He was just a slimy blackmailer. What a fraud, trying to pass himself off as an ace detective. Why you? How dare you expose me like that? Why I mean, I never blackmailed anyone in my life. I'm a famous and proud ace detective. And also Mask to Mask. Why can't you understand that? I'm afraid you are neither a proud thief nor an ace detective. You're a blackmailer and a murderer. That is your true identity. Why you? I'm not even gonna try to read that. It would seem we finally arrived at the real answer. That was quite a performance by Mr. Atme. Bailiff, please prepare a cell for Mr. Atme. What? Why do you grab another cup of coffee? That would be number 18, would it not? I'm just saying. I love this game. And I love its attempts at being silly. But I'm just saying. The hammer that strikes too fast has no time to aim. What do you mean? I'm already prepared to deliver my ruling. Allow me to say one thing. I will be the one to judge. You don't get much more in your face than that. It appears that your claws weren't quite sharp enough, Mr. Trite. What do you... It's true that you've proven a lot of things. Things like Luke Apney was a filthy blackmailer, and that he wasn't at Lordly Taylor the night of the murder. That's right. That's why he's the one who killed Mr. Bolt. But there's still one thing you've yet to prove. What's that? Just because he wasn't at the warehouse doesn't mean he was at the murder scene. Therefore, if you can't prove that, this pitiful excuse for a man was at KB Security, then I don't see how a verdict can be delivered. No way. Order in the court. Well, Mr. Wright, this is it. This is the final round. I've got to prove that Apney was at Mr. Bullard's office on that night. But, can you really prove that? That's long enough, Mr. Trite. I want to hear your answer. That night, Luke Apney was at KB Security, and the defense? Can't prove it right now. I can't prove it. Just as I thought. But, if we hear more of Detective Apney's testimony, unfortunately, that's as far as you go, Mr. Trite. What do you mean? I won't allow for any more testimony, that's what I mean. What? Have you forgotten? Luke Apney is here after we interrupted his own trial, and you have failed to prove that he committed the murder. I think it's time for this witness to return to his own trial and face his guilty verdict as Mask to Mask, even though we just proved that he wasn't at the at Lord Taylor. No. Well now, Sir Lawyer, it seems that love wins out in the end after all. I am the ace detective as well as Mask to Mask. My verdict will verify that. Just as Rondelites will verify that he is the true murderer. I declare that with the full force of my ace detectives. Order in the court. That's enough deliberation over this witness. I can't believe this. At this rate, Ron is... Don't give up now, Nick. We still have tomorrow. We can look for more evidence and by then it'll be too late. Huh? Why? Double jeopardy. One of the basic rules of any court of law. Double jeopardy? Should a defendant be tried and found innocent in court, that defendant cannot be tried again for the same crime. This is a fundamental rule of all courts, and it applies to this witness as much as it applies to anyone else. Mr. Apney will be found guilty in a matter of minutes. Guilty as mask to mask, which means he will be innocent as far as the murder of Kane Bullard is concerned. No way! The fact that you were unable to prove Mr. Apney's guilt of that crime here means that he will never again be tried as Kane Bullard's murderer. Now there's nothing I can possibly do to win. Even if Ron is proclaimed to be innocent, the real killer, Luke Apney, will go free. You have cross-examined every statement the witness has made here today. As long as there is no more testimony, I'm afraid I have to declare that there will be no further questioning of this witness. Are there any objections? Then I hereby end the cross-examination of Luke Apney.
Objection!
I think I see it. Your Honor, when you were a child, this is what was on your report card every year. Has poor hearing and often makes mistakes as a result. How did you... Phoenix, raise your head up high. Have you forgotten what I used to tell you? A lawyer is someone who smiles, no matter how bad it gets. Hi, Mia! That voice, no way. Long time no see, Phoenix. Mia! This is the true power of the crane channeling technique. I know it's really Maya who's standing before me, but right now, she's my mentor, Mia Fey. Now, let's do this. But there's nothing more we can do, Mia. Without any more testimony, I can't cross-examine. Not yet. The testimony's not over yet. What do you mean? Your Honor, just now you said something very interesting. You've cross-examined every statement the witness has made here today. Yes, that's true, but unfortunately, Your Honor, you're forgetting something. Earlier, after the last cross-examination, this witness made a number of remarks. Well now, Sir Lawyer, it seems that love wins out in the end after all. I am the ace detective, as well as Master Mass. My verdict will verify that. Just as Rhonda Lights will verify that he is the true murderer. I declare that with the full force of my ace detectiveness. Yes, but these comments appear to have no importance whatsoever. Very well, then we shall prove their importance via cross-examination. At any rate, as long as the witness has made these remarks, we, the defense, assert our right to question them. Is that alright with you, prosecutor? Is something the matter, Mr. Godot? Nothing. Oh, Sir Lawyer, it looks like you're one step too late. If you think such falsehoods will do anything to me, look at... Let's hear it. Huh? It's true that the witness has made some remarks. So then, let's hear this last bit of cross-examination. Mr. Godot, what are you... Very well then, Mr. Luke Apney. I'm going to allow the defense to cross-examine your earlier remarks. The defense would like to hear why you declared the defendant to be the true murderer. So please, give us one last bit of testimony. Phoenix, this is it. This is our absolute last chance. Yes, Chief. Indeed, it is true that I was not at Lordly Taylor. I had to leave to see about another vitally important job request. I had known about the date beforehand, so I had this photograph ready. My brilliant deduction was what informed me that the true culprit was Rhonda Light. And thanks to the key card and wallet, it was abundantly clear that he was there. I was also able to make a deduction from the buzzer, which only sounded once. The button did not have any fingerprints on it. Why? The victim would not have left prints if he sounded it, which means the killer sounded it. Mr. Delight was wearing his mask outfit, which is why he left no prints. And the blackmail letter, the victim likely just mistook the color of the jewel. Zavari. Therefore, all the evidence points to that poor boy. His testimony actually seems to hold up pretty well. The witness's earlier remarks do not appear to have been hastily prepared. All of his points have been explained, and none of them seem to contradict anything. But of course. But, how do you know about the emergency buzzer? The police investigation documents went directly through me, and I always look over all the documents. It's elementary, Sir Lawyer. Grr. Are you going to make even more trouble for us now, Sir Lawyer? I will not allow any of your usual shenanigans, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. We cannot postpone Luke Apney's trial any longer. This is your last chance. Hang on a sec. Just one chance? Ha. It seems the party is about to begin. Well, Phoenix, there isn't any evidence that contradicts with that testimony. So it would seem. What do you mean, so it would seem? Listen, Phoenix. Pointing out contradictions doesn't always mean you have to present evidence, does it? At any rate, this is our last chance. If you can't point out a case-breaking contradiction, you lose. That's all there is to it. This is actually number 19. Not number 17. I'm just saying. Seems like the time has come to put an end to this trial. I have to find a fatal contradiction in this testimony. And actually, when I was at 4, they were at 6. So maybe this is 17 in some weird twist of fate. But who am I to say? We're just going to continue. I have to find a fatal contradiction in this testimony, and I need to point it out without presenting evidence. Which means all I can do is find the contradictory remark and press it. Remember, you only get one chance. Very well then, Mr. Wright. Please begin your final cross-examination. I actually want to see what exactly happens if we press the wrong statement. I know what the right statement is. I know what the correct statement is. I'm going to save, and I'm just going to press this first one. Because I want to see what happens when you do press the wrong statement. I'm going to make sure I saved properly. Okay, it's saved. So when you press the wrong statement, this is what happens. Mr. Apney, about this last remark. You still don't get it, do you, Trite? This isn't the time to be pressing the witness on every little statement. What? I said this before. There's still one thing you haven't proven. That this scum was in Kane Bullard's office that night. And now, it's time for me to drink my last cup. Mr. Wright, I will hold you to your end of the bargain. That's enough. This court sees no reason to further prolong this trial, nor is there any need for more time to decide the case against the defendant. This case is extremely clear. I see no room for misinterpretation of the facts. This court finds the defendant, Ron Delight, guilty. So that's what happens if you press the wrong statement. It basically takes all your life away, no matter what you've got left, and it activates the end game, or the game over sequence. So, that's what happens there. Now, let's do this, like, the actual right way. So, what you're supposed to do is realize that he was not here when they said that Ron Delight was in his mask outfit. So, Luke Apney has absolutely no way of knowing that Ron Delight was mask to mask, which is why he left no prints if he sounded it. He has absolutely no way of knowing that unless he was there and saw Ron in the mask outfit. Therefore, you're lying about all this. Mr. Apney, about this last remark. You still don't get it, do you, Trite? This isn't the time to be pressing the witness on every little statement. I'm afraid you're the one who still doesn't get it, Mr. Godot. What? Mr. Apney, it seems you have finally admitted that you were in the CEO's office on the night of the murder. How can you say that? Let's review your testimony, shall we, Mr. Apney? The butt did not have any fingerprints on it. Why? Mr. Delight was wearing his mask-to-mask outfit. Is that correct? Indeed, that's what I said. My deductions are absolutely foolproof. More like your deductions prove that you're a fool. I'm sorry? Whatever do you mean? For some reason, I'm starting to get really thirsty. When exactly did we learn that fact that Ron Delight was dressed as mask-to-mask when he went to the scene of the crime? That was, it was just a few hours ago. Back when my sixth cup was looking at me with a cold stare. Huh? Oh, did I forget to mention it before? I'm sorry, I just never had a chance to mention it up till now. Nobody knew that except for Ron. That's right, the defendant had yet to tell anyone else this fact before this morning. Therefore, the only people who should know this are those who have been watching the trial. Grrrg. Do you understand now, Detective Atney? There is no way that you should have known about that. You were in the next courtroom being tried as mask-to-mask. So then enlighten us. Just how did you know that piece of information? Well, come on. This detective must have known about it. He probably had plenty of chances to find out beforehand. How? You didn't even know about it. And it's those chances I want to discuss next. That night, Mr. Delight was wearing his mask-to-mask outfit. There is one and only one way for Detective Apney to have found that out. Only one way, you say? Please recall, if you will, Mr. Delight's testimony. When I entered the office, there was a suspicious shadow there. For a second, my client witnessed the real killer. But Mr. Delight never saw his attacker, so there's no way to tell whether or not the real killer was Luke Apney. It's with that statement that I'll turn this case on its head. Just what are you implying? Mr. Delight saw the real killer, correct? Now if you turn that statement around, it stands to reason the real killer had also seen Ron Delight. Impossible. Detective Apney, you saw Mask-to-Mask at the murder scene that night. You saw him when you killed Kane Bullard and assaulted Ron Delight. That was the only way you could have known what Ron was wearing. Whatever mess that is. Take a good look, everyone. Unable to find a rival worthy of my genius, I was forced to create one by myself. Here I am, the tragic clown. That's the same line you gave yesterday. But I think there's a little more meaning behind it this time. Hee hee hee, ha ha ha, ha ha ha. What an awfully complicated incident. Kane Bullard was blackmailing Luke Apney, who was in turn blackmailing Ron Delight. And upon killing his blackmailer, Luke Apney tried to frame Ron Delight. Then he claimed to be guilty of mask-to-mask in order to escape his true crime. And to that end, he came up with this plan. To use the double jeopardy rule when making his alibi. At any rate, it would seem we finally found the truth. Excuse me. I came perilously close to besmirching the record of an innocent young man, besmirching him with the title of murderer. Don't ignore me! Oh, I didn't realize you were there. Why wouldn't you be? About the verdict. I know. You never committed any murder. That's right. I'm so glad you understand that, but I really am Master Mask. Huh? So, thanks to that trial yesterday, I'm innocent now, right? What was it you said? Double jeopardy? Now that you mention it, I've been careless. Careless? What do you think, Mia? As the defendant says, the rule of double jeopardy is absolute. A defendant can never be tried twice for a crime in which he was once found innocent. Then, Master Mask is really innocent? It would seem so. For now. For now? Now then, the court finds the defendant not guilty. Yay! Boy, this is really lucky. Wait, this isn't so good after all. You see, the thing is, I still am Master Mask after all. October 14th. 3:35 p.m. Defendant lobby number 4. You did it, Phoenix. Thanks, Mia. It's been a long time, hasn't it? Hi, Callie. I don't know how you say your name. I should know how you say your name. The number of times I've heard it in Farewell's chat. Kaylee, I think. I don't remember. My brain's not here. Anyway, how you doing? Thanks, Mia. It's been a long time, hasn't it? Yeah, it's because Maya doesn't call on me much these days. Oh? I'm just joking, Phoenix. Don't take everything so seriously. Kaylee. Okay. Gotcha. Thank you. But on the other hand, Maya, she seems kind of torn these days. You mean about becoming the master of the Karain channeling school? Becoming the master means saying goodbye to our mother. Misty Faye, right? Watch over her, will you, Phoenix? Of course. Well then, see you around. I have heard that, and I know why. It's just become habit to call him Godot at this point. So I know technically it's pronounced Godot, and I know why, because I've played the main trilogy before. So I know why, and I get it. It's just habit at this point. Well then, see you around. Mia. Mr. Wright. I don't know what to say. Congratulations, Mr. Delight. Thank you so much. No, wait. Nothing really matters anymore, though, now that all of this happened. Come on, just be happy already. Maya, you've been cleared of the murder charges, and you got off as Master Mask to boot. But in exchange, I lost everything. Huh? What do you mean? Stealing security information from KB Security, becoming Master Mask. I did it all for one reason. For her. You mean your wife, Desiree? She hates criminals more than anything. Come to think of it, she was once held hostage by some robbers, wasn't she? She always said how she hated sneaky criminals. I knew that, but once I got fired from KB Security and lost all the money I had, she wouldn't have any reason to stay with me. I thought she would leave me for sure. So that's why you became Master Mask? Yes, but it's all over now. A broken bowl can never be put back together. That's not true, right, Nick? Right. Really? Can we go back to the way things were? You'll be fine, and Nick can prove it. I can? Kinda wish you would check with me first. Mr. Delight, even if a bowl is broken, there is always a way to put it back together. As shown by the urn, which has been broken twice. The sacred urn? Desi was the one who found this. Desiree, your wife. She's always believed in you, Ron. That's why you'll be fine. You don't have to worry about anything. Ah, there you are. Miss Delight. You did it, Ronnie. You're innocent. I'm so happy. Thank you. I appreciate it. But, I suppose you don't want anything more to do with me, do you? Ronnie, why didn't you talk to me about what was going on? I had no idea you'd quit KB security. I never imagined that you were really Master Mask either. Miss Delight, what are you gonna do now that you know? You're not going to really leave him, are you? Come on, it's obvious, isn't it? How could I ever let a wonderful man like him get away? After all, my bike's really fast. So fast that there's no way he could ever get away. But didn't you say that you hated criminals? Hmm? Oh, I only hate people who act all cowardly and sneaky. Like the detective. I see. My Ronnie went and declared his crimes before he committed them, like a man. I just love a man who's so chivalrous. Chivalrous? I knew I was right about you. Every day I spend with you is filled with thrills and excitement. Desi. Desiree, you really do love Ron, don't you? Nicky boy. Yes? I'm really glad I asked you to defend my Ronnie. Thank you so much. I'll never forget what you've done for us. Oh, well, take care of yourself. You too, Nicky boy. Gulp. I can feel my face going red. Mr. Nick, Mystic Maya, congratulations! Talk about bad timing. Mr. Nick, how could you, with another man's wife, in front of Mystic Maya? No, you've got it all wrong. I'll never forgive you! Never, ever, ever! Oh, Pearl, never change. So just as the case came to a close, so too did my consciousness. Ron said a broken bowl can never be put back together, but I know that's not true. I mean, just look. Here's a perfect example of one that was put back together even better than before. Episode 2, The Stolen Turnabout. That's the end of that case. A new episode have been added. Yes, I would like to save, and that is going to be the end of this stream. We are going to raid over to Talisi. He is currently playing Strenova, but I have seen in his Discord that he is also going to swap over to Danganronpa here soon. And let's be real, I love Danganronpa. Best game ever. One of the best games ever. I am going to play it here on my stream at some point. I do want to buy it on Switch so that I can stream it and play it on the Switch and try the Switch version of it. But yeah. We are going to go ahead and raid out to Talisi. I think I spelled his name correctly. Taliesea. Yes. We're gonna raid over to Tally. We're gonna raid over to C. And here is our raid message. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. And I will, at the very least, see you guys next week for another stream. Have a great night, everyone, and adios.